Welcome to Why We Campaign. There are many reasons we run an annual campaign each year, but we're going to start the conversation by talking about how the campaign can benefit you, our volunteers, as well as our community at large. Volunteers have been found to experience decreased risks of depression, mental health boosts, increased physical activity, reduced stress, lower blood pressure, and better time management skills. Within our communities that have high rates of volunteerism experience greater income equality as compared to communities that do not have high rates of volunteerism. Kids who participate in volunteering cut their risk of dropping out of school in half, and folks who have been out of work are 27% more likely to find a job if they are a volunteer as compared to those who don't volunteer. So we spoke a little bit about how the campaign can benefit volunteers in the community, but volunteers are absolutely essential to the Harrison Family Wise annual campaign. Volunteers help influence and inform the case for support each year by knowing the community needs and being able to share that with the why. It makes sense that volunteers also have greater credibility when it comes to asking donors to commit funds to the why. Volunteers also help expand the number of contacts the why has in the community through their networks, and they're able to share the why story with people the why may not already be reaching. And lastly, staff may come and go at the Y. We hope that's not the case, but it does happen. But our volunteers, year in and out, give some consistency and leadership to the campaign. Lastly, when talking about why we raise annual campaign funds, you have to talk about where the money goes. We'll take a look at some of the places our annual campaign funds are used. This first photo is of one of our Y buses backed up to the loading dock at Ripe Revival. During the pandemic, Ripe Revival donated thousands and thousands of pounds of produce that we picked up and delivered to food and transportation insecure families in both Nash and Edgecombe counties. We identified these families working with community partners such as Nash County Schools and the Housing Authority. This picture is of children in our summer camp program. Historically, the largest proportion of annual campaign funds goes to supporting kids and families in our community. We offer excellent youth and family programming, and these families are able to apply for and receive financial assistance so that anyone who wants to participate in youth and family programming is able to do so through annual campaign funds that you all will be helping to raise. This next photo is an example of community outreach and engagement that annual campaign funds help support. This is a picture of a walk audit we completed in July of last year. We worked with, in partnership with the Rocky Mount Housing Authority. Elected city officials participated, as well as staff from the Housing Authority, the Y, and the North Carolina Alliance of YMCAs. Some great things came out of the walk audit, including a new crosswalk to an elementary school in the neighborhood, improvements to the sidewalk to make sidewalks in the community to make them safer and more inviting to walk upon, and a speeding study conducted on one of the streets in the neighborhood. We do community outreach engagement projects that are great and small. This is an example of a small project. We were conducting or hosting a walking club in a different Rocky Mount Housing Authority neighborhood around a park in that neighborhood. And within the park was this little library. During walking club, we noted that the library had a couple cobwebs and some mulch, but no books. Through a tiny community outreach program, we were able to go over, clean out that library, and stock it with books for kids in the neighborhood. Here's a picture of kids on our swim team. It's an example of youth programming outside of our out-of-school care programming. So we offer swim lessons, swim team, gymnastics programming, including recreational gymnastics classes as well as competitive team, tot sports, lifeguarding classes. All of these are excellent programming available to all children in our community through the generosity of annual campaign donors who make financial assistance a possibility for these families who might not otherwise be able to afford to pay for these kinds of things for their kids. This is a picture from our after-school care program last fall on Sweet Potato Day. Sweet Potato Day was an afternoon event in partnership with the North Carolina Sweet Potato Commission and Ripe Revival. It's an example of one of the enrichment activities done in our after-school care program. This is a picture from our Super Supper class in partnership with the Edgecombe County Cooperative Extension Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program. We're able to offer a cooking class to folks in our community at no cost to them. So these folks received a box of produce donated by Ripe Revival, education from NATIMA about how to cook the produce in the box so they know what to do with that butternut squash, as well as education about shopping, healthy cooking, reading labels, how to eat healthy meals. Lots of great information went out in these classes, and these participants can't rave enough about the class, and we're so pleased to offer this class in partnership with these organizations. And lastly, our food box program, this grew out of the pandemic, working in partnership with A Touch of the Father's Love Food Pantry, Apostolic Faith Church Food Pantry, and lots of community partners who referred families and seniors to us who were food and transportation insecure. We've been able to provide well over 100,000 pounds of food to families in Nash and Edgecombe County who are food and transportation insecure. It's been a great program, and we just couldn't do it without the support of annual campaign funding. So these are just some of the ways annual campaign funds are used. They help us fulfill our mission to strengthen people and our communities in spirit, mind, and body.